Stop listening! Instead, stream the uncut version of this discussion by either or both, tipping us on Ko-fi or joining a membership on either Ko-fi or Patreon via the links in the description.
I have a little baby Bridget.
That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? I don't have oppositional defiance disorder. Or like maybe she'll rebel and she'll be like, I accept everything you say. I raised my daughter or son wrong. I'm my father's kid. My dad was exactly as me. Free-spirited, went to the army, said, gave the middle finger to his community, ultimately married someone from his community.
How funny.
Did the same thing everybody else did, essentially. So I'm probably doing the same thing now, except for I don't have kids. Oop, that we know of.
Mm-hmm. That you know of.
Yeah. See, I can't laugh. Wow, Dave.
We are Squawking Dead, a podcast pulverizing programs beyond the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we give you news, sometimes we make you laugh. Most times we go deep. I'm your host, David Cameo, and I'm joined by...
Lazy Gardener.
Neo's the one.
Perfect. And we're here to talk to you about Dark Wind's third episode of its fourth season, titled Ahááaldláádígíí, which means that which has been torn apart. Of course, we do have some housekeeping, but before we even get to that, I'll just say Bridget has not been with us for a couple of episodes because she is having a baby. And hopefully that's happening looking at my hair watch right now. And I just want to give you all the opportunity to leave Bridget a comment in this video or on her own channel at youtube.com/@punkybrewster. That's PUNKYBRUISETER, or on her Ko-fi page, which you can also reach on ko-fi.com/punkybrewster. So, if in case you're feeling the spirit within your body, you can leave a comment on her socials or her YouTube or her Ko-fi just to wish her a well, and she has a great life with her baby. So, round of applause for Bridget.
Quiet applause. Don't want to wake the baby.
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly. That's exactly. I went like, it was very quiet. It was like a very... Other housekeeping is, hey, we have merch. That's it. Head to squawkingdead.com, choose the main menu, choose shop merch, choose the new store, and we still have our Fallout merch up. It will be up until we replace it with something else. We do have some Dark Winds merch in the old store, and I did revamp the art, which I will actually replace the logo design that we currently have up in the old store with a new version, both the art and the logo. So keep your eyes peeled. I will either do it in the new store or just leave the old store as is and just do it in the new store. I only have so much room in the new store, so check it out. The Fallout designs are incredible, crazy, and I really encourage you to check those out before those disappear. And as always, the code that has been made available for members still works. So if you do want 20% off, you can scroll down our feed on our Ko-fi or Patreon page, grab that 20% discount, shop in the new store, get some good stuff, and just live your life. And on to this episode, which I'm very eager to talk about. I took a lot of notes. Who knows if any of this stuff will be talked about, by the way. But I hope some of it will be, especially when it comes to the traditional stuff. But the title is That Which Has Been Torn Apart. And I'm wondering if you had time to think about the title.
A little bit of Chee and Bernadette's relationship.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of Chee and Joe's relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Man, the girl...
Billy, Sosie.
She pretty much has no family now, so she's been torn apart from her family, too.
Including her last remaining family member.
Yeah, last remaining family, true.
Albert's brother, her other cousin. Her grandpa just passed. Was murdered brutally. What? I guess Emma, and the reminder of Emma, Joe, and Joe being torn apart. Although there's probably a little bit more to dig in on that, considering all the letters we found this episode. Because we were wondering, they must have kept in touch somehow. Somebody had mentioned that she had reached out. And so now we see all the open letters.
I think Joe's feeling of security is one of the things that was torn apart because his house was invaded without him even knowing.
Yeah.
That which has been ransacked.
Yeah.
Right.
His security in general, he's losing Bernadette. He's losing Chee. And there's also the general status quo that is being torn apart. The whole station is going to have to change. If he leaves to go find Emma, that is something that will be torn apart because he is like the anchor of the Kayenta police station and his little corner of the res.
I see. I actually did not consider that. Well, and then
Right,
this
yeah, that's a
whole
good point.
promotion thing is even a form of that too. The idea of him instituting Byrne as his replacement, it's the impetus for things tearing apart, but it's not really the notion as much as it was the lying.
One of the things I talked about was what a little baby Chee was being. I get it, you're upset or whatever, but you have to look at it from their side because it is something that you don't want to just put out there. It's not like they were lying to you on purpose. It was just something that they didn't want to have out in public at the moment. And your reaction to finding out is probably one of the reasons they didn't want to let you in on it.
I think there's a lot more than just that going on with Chee, though. That's kind of why, like, it's like a whole ball of, you know, those rubber band balls?
He's super insecure where Bernadette is concerned anyway. When she left and went to go do her own thing, it kind of shook him a little bit. She doesn't have to have me. She
Yeah,
can
definitely.
be off on her own. And so all this little secrecy and stuff with Joe has just ratcheted that feeling of not being able to control her, I guess, maybe, or not being completely with her has just shook him to the point that he's lashing out like that.
I don't disagree, but I just think there's a lot more than just that. We can stop at that explanation. And I think that is actually adequate, obviously, because it's not a good feeling to see him shrug off Byrne. It hurts because we want them to kind of be together. And his partnership with Joe.
Since we've seen flashbacks of him finding his mom, which I assume that's his mom,
We're starting there.
he's got the feeling of abandonment. She's going to leave me again. Again, I understand his anger, but you can't be a big baby and go and throw stuff in Joe's face like he did.
Stop being a big baby with your unresolved trauma.
Well, you don't go up to the guy who's your friend and be like, oh, I know you murdered somebody and I've been keeping it secret. You owe me for that. No, he doesn't really owe you for that. You should have said something if that's how you felt about it. Don't wait until there's this moment and then be like, oh, well, here's what I know about you. That makes you the bad guy in this
Thus
situation.
proving that he is exactly like Joe, because in effect, by keeping that from Joe, however noble, he knows, but he wants to respect that he knows, and just he's going through enough. I'm just going to be there for him. I'm going to keep it light. I'm going to see it what ways I can do without getting into his business to keep him on his path. But that is also a form of lying.
But then
too,
the
isn't it?
very first time that you get angry with him about something, you throw it back in his face. You don't sit on it and be like, oh, I'm
Well, we just
doing a
went
good
into this
thing
too,
for
by the
Joe.
way.
I'm helping him out. But now he made me mad. So here you go, Joe. Here's what I think about that. No, he was a big
Well,
baby.
I love how deliberate the dialogue was for this, though, because when Joe puts it to Chee that this is the reason why I'm instituting Byrne, you're making this about Byrne. Chee redirects it and makes it about Joe lying to him, which I like. I think Joe isn't wrong when he says, Chee, don't be upset that I appointed Byrne. However, two things can be true also. I can see Chee being more upset about, hey, I did all of this. I didn't think about the FBI and what it meant and what you did before saving you. I care about you, Joe. I did whatever I did because I love you, Joe, like in his own way, his own Chee way. I did all of this for you. It was never about Byrne or the FBI or whatever you did, or Emma and what you were going through. I stayed because of you and /Byrne. It was never about that.
I can get behind that point. Yeah, for Chee being mad.
Right. And so when you kept that from me, you didn't have to, but because you kept that from me, that's why I'm so upset. And he's not wrong either. Why did Emma leave? Why is all this craziness happening to Joe? What has been the core reason?
There's a difference in not telling Emma. That is a personal decision. When he didn't tell Chee, yes, they're friends, but that's a business decision. He doesn't want to tell people because he doesn't want it to get out until he's ready for it to come out that he's leaving. Whereas keeping it from Emma was personal. She had no part in that. He could have told her that. Again, I know why he didn't, but it is a different situation.
Why. In the parallel of it, there is that noble effort of why we don't tell people and who we're willing to hurt, and not accepting the consequences of when that noble effort isn't felt or reciprocated. Because you think you're doing a noble thing by protecting people by not letting them in on what you did. And it could be multiple things. Maybe you just don't want to be caught too. It could be a whole bunch of things. But we see the reasons why Joe says what he says, but it doesn't change the hurt that he has to accept is going to happen if Chee finds out, because he is a great detective. He's really good. He literally figures it out before Bernadette has a chance to even let him know, which is kind of amazing. And which I was listening, obviously, when I was editing the last episode, and I've obviously heard Bridget say it best. Wow, he is a really good detective. He found this all out. He should be in the top spot in the running. However, I do agree with Joe. I think Joe has proved by way of his lying and not holding all the traditions and causing a schism between his personal and his professional life that you do need to embrace a measure of spirituality. I will undercut this point later on in this podcast, obviously.
Okay.
But no, he's not wrong. I think Joe is overcorrecting. And for whose sake, we don't know. Although his mom does kind of say, are you doing this for you? Or are you doing this to make up for your lack of spirituality, quote unquote, being the reason why you and Emma aren't together? Is it that, or is it the lies? Or has it always been the lies? You didn't have to be spiritual. You just had to not lie. That decision of keeping BJ Vine's murder from Emma, though noble, it was about their boy, though. Ultimately, it drills down into the murder of their boy and murdering his killer. Ultimately, that's a big thing.
To play devil's advocate,
Of course. That's what we do here.
I wouldn't be running to tell somebody that I murdered somebody either. Like,
No, I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm worried they're going to tell me. Like, I don't want to burden them with that knowledge.
I
either.
agree. Unfortunately, for
like,
everybody.
I understand what you're saying, but I feel like on Joe's behalf, you got to be like, I wouldn't run to tell Dennis that I just murdered somebody. Like, it would be weird. It's not something I'm going to be out there sharing with people. I haven't murdered anybody, by the way. So
if you did murder your kids, assuming we both don't have kids, but your kid's killer, that seems to be a bigger deal.
if somebody killed my dog, I'd be all John Wick on them. So,
But you tell Dennis, right? You'd be like, Dennis, I just got
Dennis.
our dog's killer.
Got him.
Got him. Exactly. Right? It'd be like, you'd be actually kind of proud of me. But like, Dennis, just want you to know that in case the cops come by, just be prepared.
I get that, and yes, because Dennis would be all good with it, maybe where Emma was not.
Yeah.
Joe knew Emma wasn't going to be okay with it, whereas Dennis would be like, yeah, you killed my dog's killer, get him.
See, that's the problem, though. I think Emma is mostly mad because now we'll never know. And she only found out after the fact and not before it all happened, to discuss it beforehand, decide if as a family that's the right thing to do. Lack of separation between he is a cop and he is a dad, and then mixing the two things.
I'm not even saying Emma was wrong to leave in any way. Like, I understand the feeling of betrayal also.
And of course, it shouldn't go without saying that, and we said it a bunch of times, but 85% of families who lose a child, especially their only child, it's even higher, those marriages don't last.
Let me bring this up, though. This is not the first guy that Joe has killed in any stretch, because he killed several people in season 1, the bad guys. What is the difference in him killing the bad guys and in him killing another bad guy? Is the only difference because one was legally sanctioned and the other one wasn't? He's still a killer either way.
One was his life was in imminent danger, and the alternative was, hey, BJ Vines never did anything to him personally. He was just...
Well, except kill his kid. I mean, that's fairly personal.
But he decided to take justice on his own. He could have easily taken him in. Obviously, we went into the whole, well, is he going to get the kind of justice that is required? We don't know. And we'll never know. See, it's like another we'll never know because we never tried. That sort of thing. That's the other thing, isn't it? We never really kind of went into the whole fact that, okay, well, we never tried to nail BJ Vines down. And had he not been nailed down, okay, maybe he can disappear into the desert.
They tried to get him arrested and they just let him out.
That's true.
Yeah.
That never went further because he felt like, well, and obviously I get it, which we just never tried. We never figured it out.
When we all sit here and watch rich people get away with doing whatever they want to, he was like, it's never going to happen. Nothing's ever going to happen to him. He's responsible for killing a whole lot of people. So if nobody's ever going to hold him to account, I'm the one that's got to do it.
Well, the show took really great pains of seeding the ground of all the different ways in which Native peoples were effed by the government, by people, etc. Things that disappear on the res. It's not just obviously in Dark Winds, but if you've ever watched Yellowstone, you'll see a lot of that in the first season. How if you want to make something disappear, you just do it on the res. Having that in mind, you can understand. And then also the whole narrative about Joe and his past, the Catholic schools, how his father killed the Catholic
It was a
priest,
priest.
because he didn't think he would get the justice for all the, what happened to the kids and his cousin, I think it was too. All of that in mind makes you understand at least the living in both worlds, the getting the justice when at the time you may not. It gives you context into why things happen the way they happen, or they have to happen, or sympathetic to the things that have to happen. The show does a really good job of trying not to revel in the Navajo justice of it all, because in a way, Joe is living in two worlds. Grew up in the Catholic schools, didn't really participate in the traditions until his wife brought him into the fold again to kind of retouch into his spirituality. So he is a lot like you. You go into this thing having knowledge of the traditions, but Emma is your guide into those traditions. And then the show kind of tries to backdoor educate you into some things, but you come here and then you figure out a little bit more.
There's
we go
also
deep.
things called books that you can go get
I
and
have
open
never
them
heard
and
of them.
read the little squiggly black lines on the paper, and you can find that kind of stuff out also.
You mean I can read things on paper from trees?
Yes.
The trees
Yes.
that make the paper?
You can read squiggly lines
I
on
don't
tree bark and
understand.
hallucinate in your mind.
Hallucinate stories in your
That's a good way to
brain.
put it. Yeah.
It's a wonderful theory. It's a conspiracy that you've woven. Paper. What is that?
Reading is a conspiracy.
Well, reading
Okay.
on physical material, I do not understand it.
Let me tell you how great it is to hold a book and not strain your eyes reading off a screen. It is such a pain. I do read things on the screen because I don't want to, I'm cheap and I don't want to pay for them. I can also go to a nearby bookstore or a Goodwill or a thrift shop and find real, actual physical books. Yeah.
I was just reminiscing over the fact that, see, all of us will remember this when we were in school, how when we were researching papers, we had to go to the library. You get the story, but you also get the reference materials, articles at the time talking about the story. You have to get those reference materials
Mm-hmm.
from the big old library in town.
Microfiche.
Right? Microfiche on top of all of that.
I can't tell you how much I spent photocopying stuff in the library.
Oh, yeah. Well, and photocopying, right?
Right.
People don't do that anymore. Send it to me in a PDF.
Mhm.
We digitized everything. Back to reality where paper doesn't exist. I do want to
That's
undercut.
what she said.
Ooh. I'm going to undercut my point about the lying because I think okay, this is what Bridget loves. See, I'm invoking Bridget here.
Mhm.
Loves the
Yeah.
most about this series is that there may be more than just, it could be just Chee's childhood trauma manifesting in a physical ailment, or it seems to be somewhat apparent that, at least a little bit, that Chee is going through what is commonly called ghost sickness.
Oh, really? There's a name for it.
Yeah. It's a main feature of Navajo culture,
Okay.
avoiding ghost sickness from, obviously when somebody passes, you don't want to be in the same room because they're Chee'edi. In some texts it says Chindi, but I think it's Chee'edi. And they really go into the actual rituals that one must do to separate the dead body from its Chee'edi. And you see that in the way,
Oh.
we don't know her name technically on the show, but Irene Wagen, like the blonde man, the German woman, did to Ashy Begay, the grandfather of Billy Sosi and Albert Gorman. So because she saw that Ashy flipped the shoes of his grandson and washed the hair, etc., she did the same for Ashy Begay when she shot him. It's an interesting case study how she treats innocence, at least in her quest to find Leroy. I hated this woman after the first watch, by the way. Like,
Really?
I got so mad. Oh, she's really solidifying like a hate response in me, like a disgust response in me. Like she just plows through people you otherwise could grow attached to. Like Gladine, we saw her last season. She just making jokes, and then she just murdered them. And I had to see that again in the next episode. And now I just was getting used to Ashley Begay. I want him to be reunited with his granddaughter, and also maybe even Albert. He seems ornery, but he didn't deserve to die. Maybe, we don't know yet. But seeing her treat Ashley Begay did make me sympathetic in that there is significance to what is done. So the changing of the shoes on the other foot, the washing the hair, the changing of the rings, which wasn't done for Ashley Begay because I don't think Albert had any rings. All of this is to make it so that the Chee'edi doesn't go back into the body. It sees a change, something different in the body,
okay.
and it says, no, I don't want to go back into
That
it.
makes sense.
It's why Navajo people try not to say the names of the dead so as to not recall them back. because
Okay.
they're very wary of ghost sickness. Like they don't want the spirit of that person to come back and haunt them because there's various ailments that come with that. And the mourning period, right? And this is why the death Hogan, right? You can't use any of the materials from the Hogan. You either leave it there and let it decay, just like, do you remember seeing Chee's mother's Hogan in prior seasons? Why it's like that? I don't know if it's
I
that
don't
she
remember,
died
no.
in that Hogan. I don't think she did, right?
I thought it was just because they moved away and left it, and the elements just took care of it over the years.
I
Because
thought
they
so
were gone
too,
for
but-
Okay.
10, 15 years. So
Right. Maybe there's more to it, but I don't know. But typically when somebody dies in a Hogan, you do the whole thing where you put a hole in the north side because the north side is where the spirits go, is to the north.
Yeah, it was cool seeing him chop a hole in their
At
place,
the beginning
right?
of the episode. Yep. So we're
Big old
backtracking with
logs of
each
wood,
episode.
man.
I
Mhm.
really like the flashback aspect at the beginning of each episode. That's a really good, I want to say, gimmick. Go back and see a little bit of
Yeah.
what happened about the last episode. A different
It's like
perspective
two
in
steps
each
forward,
one.
one step back sort of
Yeah.
situation. And I do too. It's like an interesting twist on what they did in the prior seasons, what they tried to do in seasons 2 and 3, I think. We get to backtrack a little bit. And then the Death Hogan thing is a really big deal because they can't use any of the materials. I was very curious about that. What do you do with the structure? And literally, you leave the whole thing be. Nobody ever gets to use it again. People see the hole on the north wall. They don't go in. They leave it alone, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
You can circumvent this, though, by burning the whole thing down. And you cannot use any of the materials for repurposing. You cannot recycle any of them because all of it is tainted with the Chee. And the whole mourning period not being long, too, made me a little sad, too. Just learning that, see, in Judaism, you have to mourn. You have to mourn for 7 days for most people. And then obviously for your parent, you mourn for 30 days / the whole year. 30 days is an intense mourning. And then you mourn a whole year for a parent.
Wow.
So hearing that the mourning period for at least the Navajo people is so short, you move on almost immediately. Just made me so sad a little bit because part of the ghost sickness involves not only just the spiritual or like the spirit itself and trying to ward that spirit to not make it come back or touch you. Part of it is also the intense emotion that comes with grief, which you got to see the cleansing of that emotion. The whole sage burning thing with Bernadette was
Yeah,
a
that cool at
way
the very
of,
end, yeah.
it's about tamping down the emotions, the heavy emotions after losing someone. So you can't avoid it. So there are ways to rid yourself. And it does involve like, hey, there's a ghost, there's a spirit sickness. So let's cleanse our spirit so that the spirit is warded off of us with this smoke.
Yeah, the supernatural stuff, the spirituality is what really got me into the show in the first season. Joe's grandma or mom with the cataract glasses.
He calls her Shema, but like mother, but really she's
It was Guy Atzity's mom, wasn't it?
yeah, I think it was Guy Atzity's mom.
Is it?
That's
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
Margaret
Cigarette.
Cigarette. Thank you. But yeah, she's basically an elder for the community and
An
Atzity's
elder,
mom.
Yeah.
But but he calls her Shema. She calls her mom. Kind of
Okay.
cool. Yeah, just respect your elders, you know? It's a little lesson you got to learn.
So the blonde lady, did she get everything right except for pointing the body to the west?
And the rings too. You take the ring, which would be the normal place for it. You take it and you put it on the thumb, which
Okay.
I know that some people do that. They have a thumb ring, which is weird. Okay. I'm judging you, but I'm not really. Who cares? Or the index finger, which nobody does either, really. You take the rings and you put them on the wrong finger. So the spirit says, I don't want to go into this body. It's something's wrong. These shoes are wrong. I'm not going in it. She pointed the body west. She didn't take off the rings. Maybe there's more. She did the same covering that she did with Albert. But isn't that a little fascinating to see how she's kind of respect cultures?
Do you think that she learned culture before? Is she a Native American groupie? Is that why she has the hots for Joe or whatever it is that she has for Joe?
Do you really want to get into that now?
Whatever that is. Yeah.
Does she come to America and learn about the plight of the Native Americans and have this romantic vision of herself finding a Native American man or something? You know what I'm saying? Is this like a play acting fantasy for her? Or is this something she does with every job she gets? Oh, I'm going to learn all about these people.
No, to answer the question, you first have to see what literally happens in this episode, and then you can go further. So let's backtrack a little to answer your question, because my favorite part of this whole episode was the phone call. She calls him up from his home phone to the station. They have a conversation.
Now that you mention it, I didn't realize that she was calling him from his house.
The phone call isn't a phone call. It's true what she said at the end. We are basically two opposing forces colliding. They are both in this conversation assessing what kind of person the other person is by way of just dumb questions. She is saying to him constantly, this isn't a game, But to him, it's like, well, how am I going to know about you if I'm not going to ask the dumb questions? How you respond to the dumb questions? They're both kind of just like dogs trying to sniff each other. Well, it's also the underlying philosophy. And the more I think she finds out about Joe, the more surprised she is about who this kind of person is. And I think, Charity, that is the point at which she slowly gets surprised. Do you remember at the filling station where she's perched above, looking at below at the filling station as they're trying to figure out where she is? I think you see a little bit of that there. She's surprised they found her so quickly. And then they backed off. For Joe's sake, that worked out well for him because she would have had to kill him without ever getting to know him. The more you move into the series, in her own mind, she's glad that whatever it was that caused her to spare him made it so she could get to know him and get to know a little bit more about him. There's like a deep connection. They're both kind of in their own way law people. But one is working on one side of the law. She's a trained killer, is what you find out through the conversation. He finds out she is a contract killer looking for Leroy, that there are people that hired her to do it. And this is all just from this one conversation with her. He asks her about things that don't pertain to anything. And in so doing, because of all the facts surrounding and because of the phone call itself, he makes a leap of judgment saying, you were hired to get Leroy, and your bosses are upset that this is taking too long. So he leaps to the whole
he brought it
hunch.
up. She didn't deny it.
Exactly. She gets really upset. I'm the one in control. But they're both doing the same thing. I can protect you. I care about anybody who comes in on the res. No. I get to decide who gets to live and who dies. I care about you. She says this later on in the episode. I care about you. We care about each other. How demented. And I can't tell if that's her mocking him in a way as a means to kind of dominate him, or if this really is, no, I'm the one caring about you. Did you see what I did with the ritual? Did you see how much I cared about Ashy Begay? I care about them. It's really cool to see both sides of this kind of mockery of what it is to be Joe on the other side of that yin yang.
I wonder if somehow she knows about vines.
I'd wondered that
And
myself.
she
That'd be
is
crazy.
like, look at this dude is just like me. He's a killer too.
I think she's going to find out, because I don't think she knows too much, but I think the more she stays on this case, which is unfortunate for her because she has a job to do, which Joe says on the phone, you have a job to do. Your job is not done. This is why you're still here. So I think the more she sticks around and finds out about him, the more dangerous she becomes to him. And I don't think she or he wants her to be around much longer to find that out. I got to tell you, the first watch, when I saw the kiss between them happen, first of all, my first thought was, holy crap, it's Batman and the Joker, for real. If the Joker was a woman, it's just the same vibes. Because the classic thing about Batman and the Joker is they're inseparable, according to the Joker. One doesn't exist without the other. I exist only because you do. Because you exist as a vigilante, I exist as your nemesis. Inseparable. As soon as you give it crime fighting, I'm done being a criminal. It's boring. I don't care anymore. That's immediately what I thought. But then the second thought was, wow, this is super hot.
I know. Did you get riled up?
So see, I told this to Rachel because I know she's not coming in on these episodes. I said, wait, you don't understand. It ended up being that the German woman kisses him. She's like, oh, I don't really like him now. But no, she had a gun to him.
Right.
And you can see
he did not reciprocate.
Exactly. I told that to Rachel. She's like, okay, fine. It's okay then. Of course, things like that kind of break you out of it in your head because like, oh, it's the girl from Run Lola Run kissing Matthias from Longmire.
Let's see if we can tie this together. So Joe
Sure.
is surrounded by two people who are suffering from different kinds of delusions. But Chee did not really pull his tooth out in the car. I think he's imagining these things.
Probably not. Yeah.
I wonder.
When,
I really
when he
do
showed
wonder.
up, no, dude, his jaw would have been all swollen and messed up when he went to see Joe.
He did sort of whistle his words when he was talking to Joe. That's like, although that could have been just me
This is not
imagining
really happening. But then you also have this woman who is also quite delusional. But they're in two different types of delusion.
Yeah.
She is delusional that she thinks she knows these rituals, etc. And he is believing this ritual even though it's not true.
Oh, you're saying Chee. Chee is. Okay. Yeah.
Chee, right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, hers is derived from, I think, a lot of stress too. She has to find these people. And because of the pressure of not finding Leroy this whole week, by the way, we find out another little factoid that she's been here longer than Albert's been looking for Leroy. That was only 3 days, now 4 or 5 maybe even, but she was here longer and could not find Leroy. I think maybe even part of her feels like in another life, she would have taken him up on the offer, but she's a trained killer. She's good at what she does, clearly. And maybe like Joe, maybe she's not going to let her mark disappear. Because when I saw Joe on the phone call, there was a little bit of like, what do I have to lose to what he was saying to her? Because she was saying, what you say right now controls whether Billy lives or dies. And she reminds him of this later, too. Don't make me kill Billy, basically. It's up to you. It's not my bullets and gun that kill Billy. It's you, what you say. I'm just an instrument. I'm just a force. What all bad people say. Or Batman. I am the knight, whatever.
I was just following orders.
Also, yeah, I'm just an instrument of greater men or more scary men, which is true, but you made a choice. You may think you didn't make a choice, but like BJ Vines, you made a choice. You didn't have to kill him. They are really two halves of the same coin, although he's not a killer. And he just kills
I
if he's
wonder
been
if
shot at.
Mrs. Vines could possibly be behind any of what's going
The
on.
contract killing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so because I think she didn't care so much. Like after he died, she was like, "Yay, I have his money and I can just leave." So it was just a random thought when I was trying to think of who possibly could be behind all of it. And the other abstract one is it's Mrs. Cena is pretending to be having dementia, and she's really the moving force behind all of this.
That's right. We didn't get to Terminator.
Linda
Sarah
Hamilton,
Connor
right?
again. Linda Hamilton.
B. Senna, right.
Another episode without her.
It's like I said in the first episode. I feel like we're either not going to see her for quite a while because I think sometimes we see things in the first episode that tell us where the series is going. And if that's the case, she's just a bookend.
Well, also, they were going to the lake for a few days, and it's literally only been like 2 days. So they're still at the lake house or whatever.
Right. And laundry's on Tuesdays. So
I have to believe that they're going to bring her back because you don't get somebody like Linda Hamilton to do a 5-minute scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so too. Even if it's just like the last few episodes or maybe even just the last episode or so. Because people like that appear to kind of strike you in the face. Oh, and she has dementia. Well, what does that mean when you compare that drama to what's happening with Joe and Emma? How do you compare the two? And of course, you go back to the whole, when do you decide to move on? And then you find out, of course, he's been getting letters this whole time, actually, and they're coming from Hollywood, California. And there's several letters, too. So we don't know if he's answered her back, too.
And it looks like maybe not all of them have been opened.
I didn't notice that.
Hasn't read the others.
When did we see these letters? Was a lady going through his house, and that's when we
that's
saw
when we see
them?
the letters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting too? It's like even the show through Joe is not divulging the truth to us, the viewer, about his goings on with Emma. You have to have this stranger like us. We're the stranger in the story, rifle through his personal belongings so that we can see the truth that he's hiding from us, the viewer. Also, she sniffed his shirts. I just wanted to say that out loud. I don't know where that would be inserted at all. It's interesting because her job is all about digging into the mind, the object of her target, let's say, to getting to know the target. Though Joe, not yet, is one of her targets. She too, like you said, Sharon, has her rituals. I'm sure that when she knew that she had to go on the reservation, she had to know a little bit about the comings and goings of natives, the general culture, etc. To her, it would be finding a needle in a haystack, which is why Billy was such a great ally to Albert, because she knows the people, the rituals, the locations commonly. And as we established in the series, Navajo Nation is what, 40,000 square miles, if I'm not mistaken?
I think it was 27,000.
Yeah, in the first episode. Bring water. You're right. It's 24,000 square miles, roughly.
Okay.
I doubled it in my mind.
Yeah.
Fair point. So she'd be trying to find a needle in a haystack. So for her, it would be helpful to at least study some of the culture, the locations where her grandfather probably lived and search around that area in a pattern. So to your point, Charity, about earlier, when you asked the question about, is she an enthusiast? I think she was just studying her target. And in so doing, studying the actual people like Joe, or I think maybe just Joe. She wanted to know more about him and what he is about, to decide whether or not he is going to be a problem too. And maybe all of this is just a distraction technique. She sees that he's clearly having a drama with his separated wife. She read the letters. She's had time.
Yeah, I bet she did.
And so she, in her own way, is trying to get into his head to really, really mess with it, to make him think that she would do anything. She is ready to do what she says she's going to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, can get
like in a
that.
weird way. I don't think she wants to kill him. I think she's fascinated by him.
She could have done it in the last episode if she wanted to kill him. So
She has no qualms
That's
about
obviously
killing
not where
people.
she's at.
And she even says, men like you don't exist. People don't make things with their hands anymore. They're not men anymore.
Mhm.
Found that kind of interesting too. Also a little hot.
Yeah.
So I'm nothing like that. You know what? Let me go through a little bit about ghost sickness, just to kind of tell you what maybe more than just his childhood trauma about his mom. Like you said, I'm glad you said that, Sharon D. Because I think we're so worried about the ghost sickness that he may have picked up in the Death Hogan. You get an actual better look at the cut that he gets when he crawls in to the Death Hogan. I didn't connect it at first, but when he's crawling in at the end of the last episode, you hear a tear.
Oh, okay.
It's Foley, right? It's like, I'm going to tear some fabric into a mic. So you hear that. Then you see the cut on his chest, which you can connect to him entering the Death Hogan. And then, his nose starts bleeding right away, which gets me to think that maybe the sap in the trees that was used to make the Hogan may have poisoned him in some way.
Oh, okay.
Right? The effects would be immediate.
The scientific explanation.
But see, I'm going to undercut myself again because I think what's going on with Chee is a little bit on the psychosomatic as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I was gonna say, unless it's all a hallucination.
I think yes, and I think it's that and him revisiting the ghost sickness from the time his mother died. I think he found his mother covered in a sheet and in some sort of apartment, if I'm remembering right. It felt like some sort of dwelling, not like a Hogan, but like an actual home or apartment or something like that where they lived.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's never gotten over that. I think in a spiritual Navajo way, he's not gotten over the ghost sickness. So I wanted to go into ghost sickness itself. So ghost sickness is a culture-bound syndrome, primarily Navajo, Native American, and Polynesian, causing severe, often post-bereavement symptoms like intense fear, nightmares, fatigue, he's clearly run down, and hallucinations. Obviously, he's been up all night too, so there's that.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
It is characterized by physical and mental distress, including dizziness, loss of appetite, feelings of suffocation, and a sense of impending doom, all of these valid, or that Chee's exhibiting, often believed to be caused by or to spirits. Key symptoms of ghost sickness are psychological and emotional, intense anxiety, profound fear or terror, depression, confusion, and a preoccupation with death or the deceased. Physical symptoms, general weakness or lethargy, dizziness, fainting spells, loss of appetite, and sensations of choking or suffocation. Sleep and perceptual, recurring nightmares, hallucinations, visual or auditory, and sensations of being watched or touched by a spirit. Maybe not as much of those, but behavioral. This is the key. Social withdrawal, apathy, and in severe cases, delirium or possession-like states, which in a sense, you could kind of attribute that to Chee.
Delirium, it's right there.
But even like possession-like states, I do see things a little bit from his point of view because he did put his ass on the line too for Joe. And I think part of that is intertwined with his feelings of abandonment from his mom, and it's not her fault, but I think that's what grief is when you lose a parent that young, or I don't know how young he was. There is blame involved in that. Like, how dare you leave me? And so when someone like Joe elects to withhold from his child, in a sense, you're repeating the drama and they're still there to interact with. So you feel a lot of these feelings again. So he's possessed by that drama or the trauma or drama of that emotion that takes over. Like, it's almost like a fugue state. You're being possessed by this feeling of needing to confront this grief. The condition is often linked to improper burial rituals or an inability to let go of a loved one, leading to or being caused by the spirit, the Chee, connecting with the living. Symptoms are sometimes described as being overwhelmed by a cold feeling, which he kind of a shiver a little bit, feeling or seeing apparitions.
Yeah, he had a lot of those symptoms, yeah.
Yeah, I could see it being like some sort of infection, a poisoning of some kind. I do hope we find out a little bit more about his mom, too, and what happened after that. We did get a glimpse of that. They were bullying her off the res, too. So we don't have any idea what happened afterwards.
I 100% feel like seeing the covered body triggered his memories of his mom, and that manifested the ghost sickness.
Right, quote unquote.
Me personally, he's not possessed by a spirit or anything like that.
I'm
It's
with you.
definitely psychosomatic.
I think it's nice that people like watching this show because of, like, do you remember the witch woman from season
one?
Yeah,
season 1.
Yeah, and that whole thing with Bernadette in the house and how it burned down, and did she die in the fire? Did she not die? You can go all spiritual on that. That's fine with me. But I think part of the reason is it's so nebulous that you can go either way. And I think the show does a good job of making you think, oh, it could have happened either way. Oh, how do you explain this? Or how do you explain, what's his name, body disappear, right? Frank Nakai doesn't die.
Frank
Nakai.
Cobra Kai doesn't die. Anyway.
Is that what it's from?
Yeah, I used the Cobra Kai thing, and then I said Frank Nakai doesn't die. Anyway,
Okay.
I should make a shirt. Frank Nakai doesn't die. And then he has literally, I think he had like a red bandana around his head. Anyway, they never did find his body. So I'll leave that to you.
Yeah, like last season, the guy that dressed up, we were made to think that he was, he had the horns and stuff, and made to think that he was a demon or something right out there.
Yeah, the
and
archaeologist.
going after Joe. Stuff like that. Yeah, they always bring in to make you think that it's supernatural, but it usually gets debunked.
It usually does until it doesn't, right? Until there's that like spooky, like whatever happened to this.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to that drama continues because when they're sitting Billy Sosi down about finding her grandfather's body and all the people that are dead, Chee is going through it. He is struggling to keep himself upright. He's facing the camera while all the drama is happening behind him. It's like he's hearing the news for the first time too. And then he leaves the room, obviously, to look at his cut and the nosebleed and all that stuff right afterwards. So they're not letting this go, as if to say, yeah, he's going to act like a dick later, but we're seeding the ground for you to feel a little bit bad for what he's going through.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to talk about the ceremony that Bernadette and Billy Sosi do. She chases after her and I don't want to go back to the St. Catherine's, etc. So apparently this is a real thing. So when you're feeling intense feelings of mourning or grief, the ceremony is called the smudging ceremony.
Okay.
Smudging, or spiritual cleansing, often used to address the heavy emotions of mourning and to protect the living from ghost sickness. Again, everything is to protect the person from ghost sickness. While there isn't one standard script, a traditional prayer during this process typically follows this structure. The mourning and cleansing ritual. So the opening is you begin by addressing the holy people, Diné, and stating your relationship. Dear holy people, I'm your child, right? See, this is how the relationship starts. The sage, or the smudging, you light mountain sage. I'm not going to say the Diné word. And use a feather to move the smoke over your body, but you have hands, that works too. The petition for peace. As the smoke rises, you ask holy people to remove the heavy feelings of grief. The prayer often includes, may the smoke carry away my sadness. May my heart be cleansed so I can hear your message clearly. Let me walk in beauty again. That's the most common refrain, is walking in beauty, which is like walking in balance, which again, Irene says this to Joe. I'm glad you're trying to find balance, because she's like citing the fact that he's separated and stuff like that. It's all these ways of trying to get back into balance. So why sage is used in mourning? Purification. Smoke is believed to bind to negative energy, such as the pain of loss or presence of a Chee, the ghost of the deceased, and carry it away. Protection. It prepares the space and the mourner for prayer, keeping bad spirits from entering during a vulnerable time. Restoring balance. The goal is to return the mourner to a state of balance, ensuring that the grief does not become a permanent sickness that hinders their life path. In traditional Navajo belief, it is often common to avoid speaking the name of the deceased during prayers to allow their spirit to depart peacefully without being pulled back to the earthly realm.
They sure do say his name a whole lot after he dies, if that's what they feel about
So
it.
inauthentic. I'm kidding.
I mean, I'm just saying, he must be hanging around. Maybe he's the one making Chee sick because he's hanging there.
Oh, okay.
Because they didn't let him leave.
I didn't really think about looking into the smudging thing more, but I was really curious about it. I didn't understand it at first. I attributed it to more like, okay, do you know when people are saging the house? Which, I mean, it's the same principle, it's the same kind of spirituality. I think it does come from Navajo tradition or native tradition, or Eastern Asian cultures too, like saging a room or something to cleanse it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, but what does it really mean? Oh, okay. This is like you're trying to clear the ghost to prevent you from getting ghost sickness, which, yeah, it's a big deal. It affects your mood, even how you treat other people, clearly. But she, maybe.
The girl, she was just so upset that she didn't get to say goodbye. I thought maybe this thing was a way for her, even though she didn't say goodbye, and maybe this ritual did that for her.
Yeah, at least to get her to stop and to acknowledge her pain and also the loss. Right? Okay. You take a moment, but in a safe, cleansed environment, ritual of some kind, rather than just, bye, Grandpa. There's a little bit more of a connection to others. Part of what makes the pollen path ceremony so cool is that you hear at the end of this episode, 1 by Harry Nilsson. 1 is the loneliest number.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And how even when you're with someone, you can feel very alone, either just before a breakup or during a relationship that isn't working for you. The pollen path ceremony, and this ceremony, I guess, is just a reminder that when we're grieving, we're not alone, that there are other people around that can help unstick you. You know, they're not always going to be around, but they are there. And so that's one of the things I really liked about the pollen path ceremony, because it tells you that there is a people behind you, a community behind you that will help unstick you from this trauma that you're going through. That sometimes there are burdens that are too big to bear, And then I look at somebody like Chee and I'm like, you're suffocating Bernadette because of your sickness, your ghost sickness or whatever it is. Obviously, he's been going through this even before the whole going to the Death Hogan and everything. But Joe is doing the same thing. You're not really doing the thing. You're not really getting to the heart of what is bothering you or why you're behaving in this manner. You're going to the sweat. You're doing the things. You're overcorrecting what was really just something that it's been said and done. Emma said her words and she went away. You lied. You have to deal with the consequences. If she wants to take you back, she'll take you back. We don't know if she may already have said, I want you back, but maybe let's leave the reservation. Maybe he's not ready to do that. I don't know. We don't know. We just don't know, Dave. But there's a lot of things that are being kept from us. The memory of Chee's mother's death is being kept from us. Joe's letters from Emma is being kept from us. And even the whole drama of Leroy, that whole drama that led him there, that got Albert killed, that is being kept from us. The show is lying to us, everybody. The sickness isn't ghost sickness. It's lying. And I don't like it. The show needs to start telling us what is happening. What is happening? I want to know it. I don't want to get sick with this. I don't want to lie to you people. I don't know everything. I don't know anything. Like we're talking and we're talking. We have these theories and these rituals. We're just dancing around the fact that we don't know anything. And you know what? I'm mad at the show. Mad at the show.
Now you're mad. Okay.
I'm so mad. Now I'm Chee. I have ghost sickness. Great. Thanks, Joe. See, I didn't cough once though. Did you see that? It was pretty cool.
He's going to manifest when it's coming.
Yeah, I feel it right now. Did you hear that? Like that whole thing? Gross. I wanted to say this again, is that I like that we were able to do this with you, Jason, because, well, A, that's how you found us, but B,
yeah,
we're falling so far behind that I'm glad that we were able to make this available to you and the non-audience in the chat. Because I feel guilty about the screener stuff sometimes because it makes it so that we can't have an audience.
But it's good that you can get the episode out.
Yeah.
Closer
and I know
to
that
when it drops, for the public.
That's exactly what I was going to say. And I know that you know that it's because we will get the episode dropped really quickly after the episode. So it's just the iron is hot and we have that in the chamber. But, there's a guilt. You want to give more to the people who support you, like you. So I was happy to be able to do this. And I hope in a weird, awful way that we fall behind again so we can do this again.
Oh, funny.
Again, but in another way, I hope we don't.
Right.
Maybe. Let's see how this week goes. Are there any other questions about this episode?
It was mostly my anger with Chee for being such a booty.
Did our talking about this help you a little bit? See how the other dimensions about his anger? I feel the worst about Bern. Bern doesn't deserve any of this. It's like repeating the drama of Joe and Emma.
Here's the thing. Being mad at Bern because she kept a secret that she was asked to keep, that isn't her choice. I mean, it is. It's a choice. But
it is.
When someone tells you a secret and you say, I won't tell anybody, then you don't tell anybody. I think that was why I was really mad. By the way, she's known Joe a whole lot longer than she's known you.
True.
Just saying, she ran away from school and she went and stayed with Joe when she was growing up.
Wasn't she involved with JJ?
No.
Joe Jr.?
No. I think they were friends.
I thought that's why she got the belt buckle. Do you remember? And she turned into a feather?
No, because the girl that got killed in the first episode was JJ's girlfriend.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Yeah. What's her name? Yeah. Grace? I forgot her name.
I don't remember. The girl that got killed in the very beginning of the first episode was JJ's girlfriend.
Right. Okay.
She had his jacket.
Oh, right.
Again, I get why Chee's angry, but if someone is promised to keep a secret, you can't fault them for keeping a secret, especially if it's somebody they're as close to as she is close to Joe. Because she would have broken her trust with Joe if she'd done that.
See, I commend Bern, obviously, for challenging Joe. Because in her own way, she's saying, isn't this what got you into trouble with Emma? But then he couldn't tell her. See, this is the problem. He couldn't tell Bernadette why she had to keep a secret from his wife. She figured it out because he's a good detective.
If they want to turn it around, if he's so off about secrets, why doesn't he tell Bern Joe's secret?
See?
Because when she finds out, she can be like, hey, you knew. Why didn't you tell me?
That's a good point. But see, that was something he found out on his own. Joe didn't tell him that. And I think, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
It would be even less reason for him to keep it a secret if he didn't promise Joe to keep it. That's even less reason.
You know what? I think this, but see, wow, we even said it in the last season that I think it would be worse. See, I'm making excuses. He said it would be worse for, let's say, Chee to tell Bernadette about Joe, especially without Joe telling her himself, because it would crash the idea of Joe to her as a figure for her to look up to. But again, I'm a hypocrite because you're right. It's the same thing. And I was going to say, the sickness that really is going on here is the lying. I wrote it in my notes several times. It's the lying. It's the lying sickness.
Good point.
In a way, Chee sort of says this in the episode. He says, you didn't have to say that it wasn't, that something wasn't wrong. You could have said something else. You could have said something to the effect of, it's not for me to say. She could have easily said that. Or I can't really tell you, right? That's sort of saying the truth without saying the whole truth. It's up to Joe to tell you.
He would have been like, why can't you tell me? He was kind of like that anyway. Why don't you tell me what it is?
And couldn't she have told him, it's not for me to say, Joe will tell you in his own time. Please don't press me about it. Out of respect for Joe, to be open about it, but without saying, hey, I don't want to violate Joe's trust, but I don't want to lie to you. But it's one of those things that I can't really tell you. Instead, she said the opposite.
She could have, but then that would have made him even more curious.
Right, but it wouldn't be lying
So
to
you've
him.
told me something is wrong, but you're still not going to tell me what it is. Kind of goes both ways with this.
I agree. I'm glad we talked about this.
I really can't fault Bernadette because, again, it was not her secret to tell. And she probably felt like if I say something is wrong, then you're going to push me because you're going to be like, well, you love Joe. Why don't you tell me what's wrong? Maybe I can help him. Why won't you tell me? That kind of thing. And she's like, it's just easier if I be like, nothing's wrong. I don't know.
Well, so in as much as we can't really blame anyone then, because at the end of the day, if you do follow the trail, like who inspires this culture of lying but Joe? Wasn't lying what drove Emma away? And the lying about her son's killer too. And he keeps repeating this pattern, thinking that, maybe I could have been more spiritual. And that's the thing that drove her away. No, dude, you're missing the lesson.
I'm not sure it was entirely the lying that drove her away, though.
No, sure. I
as
agree.
much as she didn't think that Joe was the kind of man who would kill somebody in cold blood, which I know I said earlier, he's killed people before, but the difference was he killed this guy in cold blood. Again, like you said, he didn't have to kill him. He did it after the fact.
No, I think you're right. I think that is part of it.
That is more than the lies, is that he is the kind of man who could do that to somebody.
Let's drill even further into that. For all you not connecting, you, Joe, not connecting to spirituality, because you're in this whole, I am a lawman, applying the law in the law ways, not the spiritual ways. This is why he says to Chee, you're just like me. You're not connected as much to the spirituality, which is why it has to be burned. Because you didn't follow your spirituality and you chose the lawman path. It's strange to me that with all the lying and the keeping secrets from me, not really telling me about your job and all that stuff and all the horrible things you have to go through, that you did that you went against even that code that you hold so dearly more than you do the Navajo code. Do you see what I'm saying? That you violated the thing you held most dear is surprising to me. And that you couldn't tell me about that. That must have tore you up. And it did. We got to see it tear him up to keep all this from Emma. Until out of necessity, hey, Sylvia Washington is coming over in just 15 minutes. I killed BJ Vines. Sorry, I don't have time to catch you up on this. Hi, Sylvia Washington.
You know what? I feel like Emma always really knew when she found out that he had disappeared.
She and Chee have a lot in common.
Right. And I feel like she knew, she just didn't want to. And then when she got confronted with it, it shook her. As long as she wasn't confronted with it, she could ignore it and it wouldn't be a thing. But as soon as it was out in the open and official, then it became a problem. She had to face it then. She couldn't just be like, oh, I'm not going to deal with that now. I got other things to worry about.
Speaking as someone who's been cheated on before or who's had to tell themselves, even though you kind of know, you think you know, but you have to tell yourself, no, it couldn't possibly, right? You have to tell yourself, no, that's not him. That couldn't be him. That's not my Joe. That's not the Joe that sacrificed his own spirituality for the lawman's path.
All right.
Do you know what I mean? You have to bat that away all this time.
When she's confronted with it and there's no way she can deny it anymore, then that's when the dam broke and she was like, well, I'm out of here because you're not the man I thought you were. Even though I knew you were that man, now that I'm confronted with you being that man, I'm going to leave. Again, I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm just saying that's another way to look at it.
Imagine you having to tell yourself it's not the case. Even though you know, you still have to tell yourself, I don't really know. And so as long as I don't really know, I'm going to put this out of my mind and curse myself for even thinking the thought, right? Because that's my husband. That's my man. To even think these thoughts is wrong. Until he tells me otherwise, I'm going to trust that person. And so you take that, you transfer that to Chee. I knew. I knew this whole time. Forensically, I'm a detective. I knew. Out of respect to you, I didn't want to dig into your stuff because you were already going through too much. This obviously shook you. He got to see that the whole of last season. He was there in the shack as the Chee tore into Joe, right?
He accepted that Joe did it. He just didn't bring it up. Whereas Emma was like, I'm not even going to think about this.
So, and that makes Joe so right. You accepted that I did this, which is even further than Joe. Part of the struggle of last season was him trying to reconcile the fact that he did this. Having the dreams of the delusions with Sylvia Washington and all that stuff under the horse tranquilizer, I think it was. How do you reconcile being a lawman and having done this thing? Because it's still murder, even though we had an argument about that. And so Chee, having made peace with that, what does that make Chee? You may be a good detective, Chee, but if even Joe is having a hard time with this, you should be having a harder time with this and questioning Joe. See, Bernadette would grill Joe about this. That's not the Joe I know, right? Like Emma, it's not the Joe I know. Chee not saying anything about this and saying, are you okay? Maybe he thought in his own way he'll figure it out. But maybe that's a thing men do. I don't really know.
Well,
I'm
I
not
mean,
a man. Just kidding.
Bernadette got spared from having it slapped her in the face because she wasn't there. I'm sure maybe it's, BJ Vines and this lady came and investigated Joe, but nothing ever came of it. So it's like, yeah, it wasn't him because she wasn't there. Whereas Chee knows. So like I said, he's being a big old hypocrite because I have a secret I could tell you, but I'm not going to do it. But you need to tell me all your secrets, or I'm going to be mad.
Which goes back to the original thing. The lying is the sickness, or I don't know, the secrets we keep from the people we love, or that we deny that we love openly. I don't know, or enthusiastically. It's more than just a job. These people mean more to each other than just the job. That's really the key.
If I was in Chee's position, I'm not a confrontational person. I feel like I would go home and think about it for a while, sleep on it, and then go say
Maybe
something.
see a doctor.
But he stays up all night and pulls his tooth out, and I'm going to go get mad at Joe now and just reacting. That's just me. I would think that I would just go home and be like, I'm going to sit on this.
I would get actual sleep on it.
Yeah.
And I think he will. Because I think the bigger drama is going to focus people in on what's really important. And hopefully in the pursuit of solving the crime, they'll hopefully focus up and figure out what's what or not. And that's a bigger drama to have to untangle. Because I really do think part of why I really like this episode is that we've had a couple of episodes of kind of going through the motions. Like, we have a general sense of what's going on here. But I think between knowing the fact that we're going to be in LA at some point and that what's in the ether is that she knows. And eventually, as Joe kind of Chekhov's gunned a little bit, is that when, was it 3 people know about a secret or 2 people know about a secret, it's not a secret? Well, then what does that mean for Joe's BJ Vine's secret? Because that happened in season 2.
Yes.
And season 3 was him dealing with it. And season 4, Bernadette knows nothing. It's been years now. So that is what made this episode for me. Well, this kind of broke things open a bit. Oh, the kissing Joe really helped with that. But knowing we're going to be in a different setting, basically where Emma is, but we don't know how that's going to shake out. And the secrets are out in the air.
Here's something I do want to ask about. He finds I'm going to call it a can key in the
I did want to mention that.
So the only reason I think that is something is because it's in the opening credits.
Yes, that's right.
Somehow that's going to be important. That is a can key, right? That's what you use
the
to
can
open
meat
up
key or
can meat, right?
I did look this up. This is the dumbest thing I looked up. Okay, you ready?
I was wondering what that was.
Here's what I plugged into the AI. What canned meat did Germans eat in the 70s? Well, you're going to find out. In the 1970s, West and East Germans, right? Isn't that a brain breaker? Germany was East and West Berlin from the end of this World War II to the 1980s.
Yeah, wasn't it like 51 when they built the wall? I think it was like
just about.
Yeah.
Well, just to kind of, to have a partition between the two. And it was like that for 50 years. So they were in the middle of that. Was it 1989 when the wall finally came down? I think it was. So anyways, 1970s, West and East Germans relied on a variety of canned meats. We talked about this in our Walking Dead coverage, how canned meats around the times of even World War I, it was a way of preserving food for the wartime effort and for people even at home, because to make it so that everybody had food. Provisions were running thin for both here and abroad. They were a staple of both quick weekday dinners and Abendbrot, the traditional cold evening meal. While West Germany enjoyed a wider variety of international imports, East Germany, the GDR, relied heavily on locally produced standardized tinned goods. So East Germany, maybe. Common canned meat products from the era included Dosenwurst, let's say it in the German way, canned sausage. This was the ultimate German staple. Varieties like Bratwurst, Schinkenwurst, ham sausage, Jagdwurst, garlic seasoned pork sausage, and Bierwurst were frequently sold in cans. They were often sliced and eaten on dark rye bread. The next is Wiener and Bockwurst. Glass jars or tin cans of these long, thin sausages were omnipresent. Back in the 70s, it was popular to serve them with a side of canned white asparagus or potato salad. Actually sounds pretty good. Corned beef, which is, I think, where my mind was leaning more towards.
Mhm.
While different from the Irish-American deli version, tinned corned beef, often imported or styled after Argentinian versions, were used to make dishes like Labskaus in northern Germany.
Do you know what the corned means in corned beef? It's salted. That's what it means. Salted
Okay.
beef.
I see.
Don't ask me why they call it corn. I knew that at one time, but I've
Right.
forgotten it by now. But
I see.
That
So
is
like
what it
rubbed. I see. So Leberwurst, liver pate, though available fresh at butchers, canned liverwurst was a pantry essential for its long shelf life and portability.
Oh, okay. I had that a lot when I
my
was
grandmother
younger.
used to get liverwurst when I was
Yeah.
a kid, and it
Liverwurst,
actually
right,
was
yeah.
not bad.
Hmm.
It's like a love it or hate it thing. It's like Brussels sprouts. Oh,
Mm.
Brussels. Like it's the same thing. They smelled terribly as a kid, but when I was older, I was like, oh, it's not as bad as I remember it smelling like feet. As an adult, it's like a delicacy. It's a revolution.
Liverwurst was just like sliced pate.
You're right, exactly.
Yeah.
So this next one's a fun one to say. Frühstückfleisch, which means luncheon meat. This was the German equivalent of Spam, which we got to see in this episode, by the way. Billy is sat down in the police station and she has the fry bread in front of her, but then she has slices of Spam to put on the fry bread.
When
Which I
they
thought was kinda
found the
funny.
key, that was my first thought because I can remember as a kid opening up
Mhm.
Spam with the key. Jason, I don't know if you know, but you'd have a can and then around the top there would be like a little tab sticking out. There's a hole in that key and it would slide over that little tab and then you would just roll that key and it would roll the metal around it and open it.
Really?
And then you just peel
Okay.
off the top.
Well, you still see this today with some cans of sardines,
Sardines,
but
yep.
it's all too rare now to see it everywhere
Pop
else.
tops, pull tabs kind of did away with that.
And especially the linings of the cans, because to increase shelf life, you'd have a plastic lining in the cans, which came way later than it should have. Like in the 80s, 90s, I think even. Or not even, maybe. Anyway, canned fish, while not meat,
Ugh.
quote unquote, in the traditional sense, canned herring in tomato or mustard sauce was the massive part of the 70s diet and remains nostalgic, retro, quote unquote, food for today. And the last of these is ready-made meals, which is called in German, Dosen Fertiggerichte.
Got it. Yeah.
Dosen Fertiggerichte. You're welcome, America. The 70s saw the rise of canned stews containing meat such as goulash, Linseneintopf, lentil stew with sausage, and ravioli, specifically Maggi or Maracoli brands, which became a cult favorite among students and young families. This is like a Chef Boyardee, but like German style. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. I want to see how that plays into the greater narrative. Or maybe this is one of those things that everybody ate Spam around that time. It's just after the Korean War. Koreans were introduced to Spam by US Americans too. So Spam is like omnipresent throughout the series now.
Mm.
They even have a onigiri, well, that's the Japanese version, in Korean. It's like a Spam sushi. it's really cool, actually.
Dennis loves Spam. He just eats it straight out of the can.
Wow.
Oh,
It's the texture of it grosses me
Yeah.
out. Even cooked, I can have it if it's like diced up, cooked in eggs or something like that. But to eat it straight, cold out of the can, no, can't do it. It's gross.
do you know those Vienna sausages in like the gelatin? I had
Yeah.
a friend who used to just pop the top and just dig
Those
in.
I can eat. I don't know why. They don't bother me, but for some reason, Spam just.
You just have to get over that hurdle, right? It's do or die, man. It's Frank Nakai. Doesn't die. You know, like,
Maybe he didn't eat any Spam.
Mm-mm.
see, there you go. Frank the guy had a very good diet. Also, he was enchanted by the witch woman. Apparently, I don't know. Sometimes the moon wears pants. Right, Bridget? Hope you have a nice, good delivery. I love you. Anyway, Irene has Leroy's picture, so nobody knows what this guy looks
Yeah.
like. There was that guy, Philip Grayson, right? What a character that was. The gas station attendant did make a reappearance, but he wasn't as ornery as he was the night before.
Wasn't as funny. He was funny the night before.
I was expecting more. And he's like,
Yeah, that's true.
you got it. You can poke around. Sure. He says, go for it. Fine. That was a little funny.
What if Philip Grayson is Leroy and he's just
And he
like
bought a
got
ticket
fake
just
identity?
because.
He's got
Well,
a
he
fake
had
identity.
identification though. Oh.
Got fake
an idiot.
identification.
Mm.
So maybe the whole being attracted to Byrne was like a smokescreen because they don't have a picture of him.
Well,
so
they
don't
got
know
a
what he looks
picture of
like.
him, but it's like an old fuzzy black and white photo. Like there, you can see all the cottonwood trees, which means it's taken from a distance.
Well, no, they
True.
never got to see it. Billy
That's right.
described
That's
the
right.
photo
That's
of him.
right. So they don't know
right?
what he looks like, and he's got fake. He could have fake identification and be making up a story.
Oh,
Who
son of
knows?
a mother. And well, see, I think that was another part of Irene. We're calling her Irene. It says it in IMDb, whatever. We're going with it, even though it was never said on the show. The blonde woman, she lifts the photo off of Albert. Yeah, only people who got to see the photo are Albert, obviously. Billy knows what her cousin looks like from the photo and from her past, but from the photo mostly. But nobody else got to see that photo. So it could be Philip Grayson, quote unquote.
They could have taken Billy with them and she could have identified him, but they didn't.
Sure.
So
But would you
could be
know?
him.
Like, interesting. And so, okay, then maybe all this drama is a way for, well, Joe to be in touch with Emma again, and also for the truth to finally be wrung out of Joe about killing BJ Vines to Emma. Not Emma, sorry, Bernadette. Well, there's a Freudian slip, sort of. The archetype of Emma is also in Bernadette, the spirituality, right? That whole thing. So you get that repeat parallel with Chee and Bernadette.
Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back after these messages.
We just thought we'd remind you to show this episode some love by tapping that like button, if there's one to be tapped, subscribing to our podcast or channel, and if available, enabling all notifications, and sharing the show, or clips of it, with everyone you know. And don't be afraid to reach out. Leave your questions, feedback, ideas, or even concerns in the comments section. There isn't one? Head on over to ratethispodcast.com/squawkingdead and leave your thoughts there. Rating our podcast is the best way to get our attention because it also boosts our visibility. And we'll probably address it in the next episode too. And if you think there's something to what we're doing here at Squawking Dead, tip us over on Ko-fi. As a token of our appreciation, you'll receive forever access to our Discord, along with 30 days access to our uncut episode and interview recordings, plus our pre-squawk insights. Take your support further. Join a membership tier on either ko-fi.com/squawkingdead or patreon.com/squawkingdead, and you'll unlock access to more channels on our Discord server, receive shoutouts at the end of every episode, and depending on what tier you join, the ability to join us on camera and mic to break down future episodes alongside us. Thank you for hearing us out and making it this far into the episode.
We now return you to our regularly scheduled podcast.
I'm interested to see where this goes. As everything with these mysteries, I love how Dark Winds makes it so that you don't see it coming or you don't see where it's coming from. Obviously, we didn't trust the archaeologist from last year, but like we didn't know how he figured into this whole thing.
No, not at all. Yeah.
We just thought he was weird. Oh, we'll just throw away this evidence. Just like, what? Anyway, we thought it was funny and weird. We didn't really 100% back the fact that this guy was the Yeitso. Anyway, so I think we'll keep it there. I have a lot more in my notes, which of course any of you can get if you join a membership tier or actually even tip us on either Ko-fi or Patreon, because it's a little thing. Along with the unedited episode, you get my pre-squawk insights, which I had contained all the links to all the things that I talked about. Probably even if you can even go further with pictures and stuff like that. But I am happy to say I'm enjoying where this is going. I like that they're breaking the frame a little bit. They were going through the motions and now they're really kind of trying to upend the table. The past isn't really over with these people. I like when a show can actually do that and not forget things. Will Frank Nakai finally show up again? Who knows? Because of us, he'll never die. Legends don't die, really.
This show is a slow burn, too. It's not a big explosive, oh my God show. It's just a really slow burn that you have to that you have to pay attention to if you really want to get anything out of it.
Right. It has all the cool things about a crime drama, like a Law and Order sort of situation, like all the twists and turns of it, but like in a grander narrative of people you can attach yourself to and care about season after season with their own personal dramas that play a part in what is happening in the mystery crime drama thing, which has that element of spirituality. That's why we like this show so much. 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, at least in the critic section. So good for the show. And I hope you're watching it.
I don't know. This battle they've had with the Rotten Tomato scores between Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad
IMDb.
universes. These ratings don't mean crap. Just watch it.
I think most people don't know what we're talking about. So let's explain that before we go. So recently, because of how great people are loving A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, it's literally beating records of even Game of Thrones, of even obviously House of the Dragon, because some people don't like House of the Dragon as much. However, when it started beating one of the highest rated episodes of Breaking Bad, which is Ozymandias.
Oh.
As soon as the Breaking Bad people heard that record was broken, they started down rating In the Name of the Mother, I think, with the 5th episode of the season, which we just released today, by the way. They started down rating that episode so that Ozymandias could go on top again. And so what A Night of the Seven Kingdoms is, because it's a franchise, obviously Breaking Bad has Better Call Saul and whatever, but you have House of the Dragon, you have Game of Thrones.
There's a book contingent too behind Game of Thrones. It's
Oh
not
yeah,
just,
exactly.
Yeah.
But then you have to also consider how The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones were always neck and neck in the most pirated version of the show, which means people watched it worldwide. So when they heard that, they downrated Ozymandias to such a degree that it will never recover.
Yeah.
Basically.
Okay.
Both had perfect 10. Ozymandias was the only episode that had a perfect 10 rating, and then both of them are down to like 9.5 now because it just it's like a war of attrition. They just keep voting each other down constantly. It just goes to show
I
you
don't
that these
get it.
ratings don't mean anything. If you want to watch something, just freaking watch it. And if you don't like it after an episode, stop watching it. It's that hard.
Which is why I never get Reddit, and I'll never want to get Reddit because of all those. If any of you follow the Walking Dead Reddits, you'll occasionally get, especially with Fear of the Walking Dead, you'll occasionally get the person who's like, "Shouldn't I watch the show? Watch the freaking show. If you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, turn it off." But I don't want to get sucked
I will
in.
say sometimes you have to watch 2 episodes. Don't just watch one, but watch 2 episodes. And if you like it, keep watching it. If you don't, stop watching it. Don't listen to what other people say. Make up your own mind. Use your own brain.
If you formulate the question differently, why should I watch this show? Okay, that's a better question to ask.
Right.
Why should I watch this show? Well, do you like crime dramas? Do you like flirting with spirituality? Is it real? Is it imagined? Do you like fictional history?
Do you like boobs and dragons?
Oh yeah, I was talking about Dark Winds. But okay, yeah. Do you like dragons? Do you like dragons?
Do you like boobs and dragons? Watch Game of Thrones.
That's right. I don't think you see much of it in House of the Dragon.
Do you like incest? And this is the show for you.
Are you soft on incest? You might be. Anyway, with that, everybody, I hope you don't bomb our ratings. Actually, fine. You know what? Bomb our ratings. Just do the things because you already heard the CTA.
Folks who speak German, please write in and correct Dave's pronunciation.
Yeah,
of
please
all of the
correct a
meats.
Jew for messing up your German.
It's engagement. Who cares?
Did I mention the fact that Ashley Begay was wrapped in the swastika Navajo blanket that was in Roger's store? I didn't mention that, did I?
Oh,
No.
Did you notice that?
Mm-mm.
So she ended up buying that 50% off blanket
You
from
bought
Roger.
it, yeah. Okay.
That's 50% off. I wonder why, Roger. Oh, delicious German blanket from the Nazi era. Oh, I love it. How do you like that,
or
Germans?
maybe she was just carrying one around since she's German.
Maybe.
I was like, why would she buy something to just wrap a dead person? I'm like, oh, wait a minute. That's not why she bought it.
Yeah.
Right. See? That's what I was thinking. As long as she had it around, which I thought was sweet in her own way.
Just something I want to bring up real quick. That doesn't really have anything to do so much with the show. I watched Antiques Roadshow a lot, and they had a Navajo blanket from the 1850s. They called it like an original style Navajo blanket. $3 million.
Wow.
Who bought it? Irene Vaughan?
This man, he said he'd had it in his family for years. They bought it at a roadside stand or something back in the 1920s.
That's what they
His
priced
family
it
bought
as.
it. Today's price is valued at $3 million.
How did they base that? What did they? I don't even want to. I partly
No, I
want to
don't know.
know.
It's
but I partly
Antiques
don't wanna bore the
Roadshow, man.
audience.
I don't know, but it's Antiques Roadshow.
I'm Googling the clip now and probably including it in the episode. No, I'm not going to do it. It's fine. It's okay. Just look it up. You'll probably find it. One more little parallel. As Irene is pulling up to Joe's house, like she's walking in, there is a parallel between Joe and Irene. In the first episode, Joe's also pulling up to his house before he goes on the sweat, or maybe when he comes back from the sweat. What's the first thing he does? He plucks one of the cherry tomatoes in his garden. Irene does the same thing as she's coming into Joe's home, thereby really honing in on the fact that they're trying to make these people two sides of the same yin yang or coin.
I can't abide a tomato thief. Just kill her.
You draw the line there.
That's right. Murder,
I
fine,
did feel that
whatever,
as well. They
but
looked really cool.
You stole a tomato. Yeah, get out of here.
Yeah. If she had taken one of the RC colas, I would have said, now you've a tomato. Okay, they grow back, right? RC colas don't grow back. Okay.
But she did take an RC Cola. That's how we knew she was
Did she?
in there.
I wasn't sure.
Is that why you did the double take?
He had a full 6-pack when she opened the door, and then when he took one out, there was only 4. So one was gone. That's how we noticed she was there. Yeah.
What a jerk.
So
Okay,
an
I had a
RC
feeling.
and a tomato. That's double thievery.
Okay.
What a thief.
See, more reasons. Remember I told you I hated her after she killed Ashley Begay?
There's no coming back from that.
I hate her even more now. And with that, I say, I hope you join us in future episodes breaking these lovely episodes of Dark Winds. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. And thank you. You have so many choices when it comes to listening to people talk about things. And you decided to listen to this. Well, I appreciate it. You made it to the end. No, I'm not sorry. You made the right choice. Welcome to the fold. I've been your host, David Cameo, and I'm joined by the self-defacing...
Defacing? You mean effacing?
I don't know where I was going with
Self-defacing would
that.
mean I'd be drawing on myself.
Yeah, you're defacing the self
graffitiing
that is
myself.
us.
Self-effacing. I'm Blazy Gardner.
And I'm Jason. Neo's the one. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Absolutely, Jason.
Thanks for being here, Jason. If it had been just me
Yeah.
and Dave, there's no telling where this would have gone.
Mhm.
It would have gone weird places where we'd both agree on a lot of things for some reason, which has happened, by the way. It's like, wait, hold on. We agree on a lot more than we thought, everybody. What a boring show. All right, bye, everybody. We'll see you
Bye.
later. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Who knows? Who knows, everybody? Who knows? I'm so upset about this fact. Bye. Hey everybody, thank you for making it to the end of yet another episode of Squawking Dead. This one, Dark Wind's third episode of its fourth season. You've made it to our post-discussion wrap-up, where we first of all acknowledge our supporters. It's a perk that they receive when they join a membership. You too can, of course, join a membership on either Ko-fi or Patreon. There are so many little perks you get when you more than just follow our journey, but support it. I wanted to mention one tiny little thing, and that was something first that I will probably be discussing in our next episode, which is we got a ton of comments about the Death Hogan conversations that we've been having in the last two episodes, this one and the last one. It is something that we will bring up more in full and discussing some of the criticisms we got on TikTok. Well, in case you didn't know, we are on TikTok and we post our clips there. You too can weigh in on that particular clip. It's already up to 9,000 views and well over 70 comments at the very least, almost all of which I've responded to, hopefully thoughtfully enough. And I actually appreciated the feedback. More than anything else, I wanted to also say that Bridget did have her child. Out of respect for her and her privacy, I didn't want to say anything more than that, like the sex of the child, what time her child was born, etc., etc. But I encourage you yet again to just make sure you, if you feel like it, if you feel up to it, it would be really, really cool if you did. Leave a comment even here or on Bridget's social media or her YouTube account, etc., etc. I had mentioned all that already in the episode. It'd be really nice. She would love to hear from you. I'm really, really happy and stoked for her, which is why I'm even saying this in the first place. And it's probably not something that she would want me to talk about. However, I can't help myself. Better to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission. Anyway, speaking of that, it's time to acknowledge our supporters. Like I mentioned earlier, since we don't have any Survivors members are our junior producer tier. You have access to our core channel where we host talk about things we can't talk about with our supporters. You're invited to meetings that nobody else can be invited to. Very important discussions that you and your input are very, very valuable to weigh in on. Skipping the Survivors tier and moving on to our Whispers, among whom Jason is one. That's another perk that you receive when you join the Whispers tier, is the ability to join us in our episode breakdowns on camera and mic so that you too can weigh in verbally and visually on these episode breakdowns. You can reach Jason on Instagram at the very least via @neos1. That's @NEOS, the number 1 HEONE. There's Rob Lucchese, who you can reach on TikTok via @robsstuff_n as in Nancy _thangs, THANGS. And of course, there's Kim Rowley, who you can reach on Facebook via @kim.rowley, the number 1. I'm very stoked to watch the next episode. Haven't done that yet. And second, assuming it's good, and we're 4 seasons in, so I'm going to assume that that assumption is correct. Can't wait to talk with my fellow hosts about it. And of course, we still have the season 1 finale of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms to edit and release. So sorry it's coming out so late, but it will be well worth the wait. Obviously, this is a great series, and I hope you are digging our thoughts on it. So without further ado, I'm not going to waste any more time. I appreciate you yet again making it to the end, listening to this ramble. It's kind of like the secret track for an album. I get a little quiet time with you at the end. But really, I just wanted to thank you for sticking around and choosing us among all the choices you could have possibly made. It really means a lot. And when we're going through tough times like this, where we're trying to catch up desperately, because we feel like we owe it to you. We want to give you our best. In spite of the fact that we're all working full-time, struggling, this isn't a full-time gig for any of us. We still want to provide you with the best possible show that we can give you. And hey, we're going to get it wrong sometimes. We don't claim to be experts. We just do a little research here and there to get a better understanding and a greater appreciation for what all of us, you, me, and everybody are watching. And with that, I say, keep in mind that you, me, and everybody, we are Squawking Dead.